1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Oh yeah, feel the burn.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
What are you up to?
I'm training.
Okay. What? Huh?
I'm getting ready to play 24 hours of video games. I don't want to cramp up halfway through.
Okay. What are you doing down here?
At the point?
Yeah.
Isn't this where everyone trains?
Good point.
Oh yeah, feel it.
Donate now at chachiplays.com. It's for the kids.
Up, down, down, left, right, BA, start! Yeah.
Find yourself in the Beachview area of Pittsburgh? Check out the official pizza of this show, Slice on Broadway, sharing an abnormal obsession with pizza we can relate to. Check them out at sliceonbroadway.com and tell them this show sent you.
Want to have your business or podcast featured on the show? Contact us at info@sorgatronmedia.com. Subject line, advertising.
Hungry, but I ain't starving yet. Chain for the pain, cocktail dollar set. Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Peanut for the taste of the fly. Sick.
Hey guys, it's another Indie Mayhem show. Back at you again, talking some indie wrestling. I am Sorgatron, Mike Sorg, of course, myself in the video profession, helping out with some indie wrestling here in the Pittsburgh area. With the International Wrestling Cartel, RWA, Renegade Wrestling Alliance, stuff like that, and other fun projects here with Sorgatron Media. And of course, my usual compatriot on these shows, Eamon down in, whoop, that's the wrong title, Eamon down in San Antonio, Texas. He's the announcer down at Inspire Pro Wrestling, ready to talk about some indie wrestling.
That word,
What's that?
I like that word, Sorg, compatriot.
Compatriot? I try to mix it up a little bit.
Tell me that more often.
How you doing this week, sir?
I am doing great, sir. I am ready to talk some indie wrestling as always we do on Tuesday nights.
Good. I know you talk some indie. I know you talk some commentating thoughts on the Wrestling Mayhem show.
I talk about the indie wrestling that's happening in front of me.
That's right. Exactly.
But it's a different kind of talking. So.
Exactly. And of course, thanks a lot to our friend Basic Sickness for the introduction you guys just heard on the podcast. Check out his stuff for free over at basicsickness.com, friend of ours here in the Pittsburgh area. And also check out more stuff, this show and others. We got all kinds of stuff at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. You can also drop us a line at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com and that phone number at 412-206-WMS0. At Mayhem Show on Twitter, Wrestling Mayhem Show on Facebook, Google+, and the great Facebook group. You can find us. And you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, YouTube, all kinds of places in video and audio formats, however you want to consume us. And join us here live every Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central Time for Eamon. Live.sorgatronmedia.com, or you can just go to WrestlingMayhemShow.com. We got a link up there every week for you. And just a quick reminder, please check out our friend at chachiplays.com. Get your donations. It's happening this weekend, the 9th and the 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern Saturday. We'll be going 24 hours streaming on this very channel at live.sorgatronmedia.com. Get your donations in. Great causes with Toonseum and Dreams of Hope, helping out youth art and LGBT kids in the community locally. So please, it'll be fun. It'll be a blast seeing the crew down there and here locally in Pittsburgh, and you guys can check out from all over the world. So let's get right with it. I know you got a guest from your neck of the woods again this week, right, Eamon?
I do. It was my turn to bring a guest, and I wanted to. I think with this show, we wanted to span the gamut when it comes to independent wrestling. We've had wrestlers that have been doing this for years. We've had announcers, we've had promoters, and I wanted to switch it up. And our first sort of, I guess, in training professional wrestler. She's had a couple matches in her, and she's here to talk about some sort of her training and her aspirations of becoming a professional wrestler. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Indie Mayhem Show, Delilah Doom. Delilah, how are you?
Hi.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. I guess the first question we always ask all of our guests, really, because it's sort of a common question when it comes to wrestling. What was your first ever memory of professional wrestling?
Oh, God. Well, when I was 10, I think I was in 4th grade. A bunch of my guy friends, when they were like, "Hey, do you want to maybe hang out and watch some wrestling?" I was like, "What? Wrestling?" But I wanted to be cool, so I was like, "Okay." And so I think it was a Monday Night Raw. I just remember seeing Chyna, and I was hooked. I just fell in love with, I mean, it's kind of funny looking back on that now, but she was so badass to me, and I was just like, holy crap, I love wrestling, and it became a thing. Me and my guy friends, I'm in like 4th grade, we'd get together and we'd watch Raw every night, and my parents used to have a black box, so I'd always have them over for all the pay-per-views, and it just kind of started from there. From there on out, I was like, I want to do that. That's my dream.
Awesome. Very cool. And other than, like you mentioned, Chyna and that, were there any other sort of wrestlers from when you were watching that sort of, caught your attention and caught your eye?
I was a huge Lita fan. Her high flying moves are really awesome. I'm a huge Chris Jericho fan. I hate to say it, but I really liked the Hardy Boys. So
they had their following.
Hey, I was younger back then, but yeah, like those are people I looked up to growing up. And I was a huge Rock fan. I had a huge cutout of The Rock in my bedroom.
Awesome. So now we as I mentioned before, you are in the training process, and you're also a few matches in of becoming a professional wrestler. I guess the basic question I can ask is, what sort of inspired you to, think of like, hey, I should become a pro wrestler? What sort of the one thing that, made you decide that?
The whole fact it was the athleticism and entertainment and theater combined. I've always done sports like throughout middle school and high school and college, and I've always been a theater kid. So that kind of drew me to it. I love being in front of a crowd. So it was like a mix of that. And I mean, I'm 20, I'll be 26 this month. It's 16 years since I've said I want to be a wrestler, and it's finally happening. So I just feel like it's meant to be. If that's lame, I don't know.
So you've had that goal for a good while.
Yeah, 16 years. I've always told people I want to be a wrestler, and I put it on the back burner for a long time. It became a pipe dream because people used to laugh at me. People would be like, yeah, oh, okay, all right, yeah, we'll see. And I don't know, it just kind of, I moved to Texas and it fell at my feet, and I was like, holy crap, it's gonna finally happen. So
awesome.
Yeah,
and I know you've been training under multiple people. One of the more, I think, notable ones that I know that you train under is Paul London, former WWE superstar.
yes.
So how did you find out about Paul's school, and what has it been like sort of training under him?
Well, I originally started at AAPW with George Delilah Doom, and I trained there, I think about 3 or 4 months, and then Paul came in, and I started, every once in a while he would take over a class, lead our classes, and, he had talks about opening up his own school. And so when he started up in January, and my work schedule switched, so it fit my work schedule to start training at Paul's school. And so I made that switch over there. And oh my goodness gracious. Paul really focuses on like in-ring training and conditioning. So it kicks my ass, and I love it. He focuses a lot on, blow-up drills and making sure that, we are in ring shape pretty much before we start getting into more wrestling things, more techniques and stuff. Like that's the whole conditioning is the big aspect of his training. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And a lot of times when we talk about wrestlers, two wrestlers about their training, about sort of how it's multifaceted and how it encompasses a lot of, kind of like what you mentioned before about how you were into sort of the athletic stuff, but also like you were in theater and stuff like that. So it's also the acting portion. Do you get that a lot when you're training?
It's always, during training, we're always supposed to, it's like we're putting on a show, even when we're just training. Like, it's part of the learning process. It's part of the whole kit and caboodle. So, yes.
Awesome. So what would you say, and I was always curious, I really wanted to know more about this. What is a week in the life of an aspiring pro wrestler, a trainee, I guess you could say?
I think everyone's different. For me personally, I train. So Paul has 2 classes usually, so I train in the mornings. So we'll have training usually Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So I'll usually wake up and I will do my pre-workout regimen and eat lots of food. Then I'll go to training. And then, I live a normal life besides that, kind of. I usually go straight to work right after training, which is disgusting. But,
So we get the remnants of your work in the ring.
Yeah, I apologize, fellow coworkers. And I recently just got a gym membership. I was used to working out at my house and doing P90X, but recently joined a gym, so I will go there usually after work or on my days off. I'll go do, I don't know. I'm really bad at gyms. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm that awkward person, like, staring at the machine like, how do I work this? But I have a degree in nutrition, so I also focus a lot on my eating habits and trying to eat healthy, and yeah.
Awesome, very cool.
Nothing too exciting.
Well, life of a pro wrestler. But a question we tend to ask on the show is sort of the basic question we ask to everyone is, what's sort of the best thing about indie wrestling and the worst thing? I kind of want to ask to you, however, what's the best thing about training and on your path to becoming a wrestler, and what in turn is the hardest thing, would you say?
Best thing, I would just have to best thing just seeing how far I can push myself. Like, I'm very hard on myself. I doubt and overthink, and seeing where I was when I first started, and seeing, I'm only 8 months in. I am nowhere near like a professional wrestler. I like to call myself a student that's training to be a wrestler at the professional level. But I have just seen myself come these great lengths where things I couldn't even think about doing months and months ago, I can do. Maybe not good, but I'm doing them. I'm pushing myself harder than I've ever pushed in my life, because this is something that I really want. I'm really determined. And I've never had such a passion for something where blood, sweat, and tears, man. It's all about that. So I'd say just seeing how far I've come in the last couple months, and just thinking about where I might be in a year or two is just blows my mind. I'm I think, yeah, I'd go with that. That's the best thing.
Definitely. And is there a sort of a harder thing? In the sense of obviously the actual like physical, toll, I guess it takes. I would think.
Besides the toll on my body, I can tell you, like, I hurt almost every day. But I would say just the business itself is really hard. It will push people out. It will weed people out on its own. And for me, that's been a tough one for me, is just dealing with, not so much the actual training and stuff, but the stuff behind the scenes. It's whatever. But I'd say that's the hardest for me, at least, just dealing with all that stuff.
Awesome. So the you mentioned obviously training with Paul, but you've also done training with George De La Isla and a couple other people. Who are some of the people you think have taught you the most, would you say, from your months of training?
Oh God, I don't want to name names. Everybody that I've come in paths with that has been willing to share their knowledge with me, I am so grateful for, and that's a lot of people. Like, when I was training with George, our in-ring trainer was Steve Paton, so he's taught me a lot. I'm very grateful for him. Other classmates in George's class, my friend Zach, George himself, Paul is amazing. I don't know. I've just, at shows, when I get to talk to people and they give me tips and they show me things, like every person I've ever come in contact with, thank you. Y'all have made a world of a difference, and I appreciate any knowledge you are willing to bestow upon me.
Very cool. So you did, however, have your first ever match not too long ago. It was for ACW. You competed on their February event in a tag team match. What was it like, sort of, realizing like, wow, like this is my first ever time, actually wrestling a pro wrestling match?
I almost threw up. I was having a major meltdown in the locker room, freaking out. I was just like, oh my god, what? And then after the match, I actually went, but I went and I cried. I was so happy I cried. I am not embarrassed to say that, because something that something I've dreamed about for 16 years like finally happened. I was just like, oh my god, I'm so happy. But yeah, I was a mess, but it was a lot of fun. It's crazy to think that was in February. Wow, yeah.
I mean, also, like, it was a tag team match with you were teaming with Jessica James, who's competed now, just coming off of a tour in Japan, and against guys like Jojo Bravo and Angel Blue. Like, how was sort of that experience getting thrust into that type of match?
I was honored, like, to have Jessica as my partner. I was just like, oh my god. I thanked them all immensely afterwards. Like, I was just so, I don't know, I don't have the words. I was just so happy that my first match included, names like Jojo and Angel Blue and Jessica. It was just crazy, and I was just so happy, and like, it was an honor to be able to have them as my debut, to have their names with me. It was amazing.
Very cool, definitely. So what are your sort of, I would say, obviously, few months into actual wrestling career, what are some of your goals, would you say, going forward now that you're starting to work more shows and go more places?
Not suck. I just want to train as much as I can and learn as much as I can, and I would love to start getting, I don't know when this is going to happen. Like I said, I'm still in training. I'm still a student. But if I could get booked back home, that would be amazing. If I could go home and have my family there to see me do this, that's one of my goals. I would love to go to Japan. Maybe one day. I'm WWE, man. I don't know why, you'd be doing this to not try to get there. If I don't know, those are big dreams, but I would love to get a contract someday.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's sort of a topic with indie wrestlers in a sense, is the idea of WWE being like a future or whatever, a viable future. But I think you're right. It's good to have that goal of wanting to strive for pretty much the best.
Yeah, I would love to even like NXT. Hey. But yeah, I just would love to be able to travel a lot. That's one of my goals with wrestling, just travel as much as I can. So.
And I also sort of get over your obviously Delilah Doom. You have a very unique style, I would say, for anyone that gets to check out a professional wrestling match of yours. How would you describe it?
My style, or like?
Well, what do you want people to know when they check out a Delilah Doom match?
It's a lot of fun, baby. Like, oh my god. I like to think I'm very awkward, and I'm very energetic. So it's an interesting aura that I give off, because I am very strange. I don't know. I'm very bubbly, so.
That's always good. A lot of energy always helps professional wrestling. So
I think so. I have fun with it, so I think that's very important.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to check you out, do you have any upcoming dates that you want to promote or put out there, or places you may be wrestling?
I am working oh god, I don't know Texas very well. Please, I just found out about this. I'm doing
it's a big state.
In Mineral Wells? Is that a place in Texas?
It sounds like a place.
Okay. I have to look at, I just found out about this like today, so I have to look at the details, but it's May 16th. I don't even know, what's today? I don't even know the dates. This is awful, you guys. I will post it on my Twitter, though, so you can follow me on Twitter at Delilah_Doom when the O's are zeros. But yeah, I'm working I think it's Mineral Wells, Texas. I have to get the details, because I didn't know anything about it until recently. So,
hey, you take what you can, though.
That's wrestling, though. And that's all I know for now. So, I'm, like I said, I am still very new, so my bookings are not anything extraordinary at the moment. I'm hoping I'll get better so people will want to book me more. So, hey, guys!
But hey, if you want to book Delilah Doom, go follow her on Twitter. Go check her out. And go support Delilah Doom and any upcoming indie professional wrestlers, because the young boys and girls deserve love too. So
Yes, please, the greenies. we're trying really hard, you guys.
Well, thank you so much, Delilah. It was a pleasure having you on. And I believe now, me and Sorg, we're going to talk a little bit of indie wrestling news that's coming out this weekend.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
All right, thanks, Delilah Doom. Awesome interview. She's really cool. I like her. She's
But
you don't it's hard to find wrestlers with that good of an attitude going into it. It seems
a lot of enthusiasm.
I
so
know.
it's always nice.
Like I'm around a lot of trainees at IWC, and like it's good to see that. I love seeing these guys with all this energy, versus the ones that've been there 10 years. I'm like, oh no. That's great. So yeah, go check her out. Like I said, we'll keep an eye on. She's also on Facebook too, so go look up Delilah Doom over there and like her there as well. Keeping with the theme, I mentioned last week VOW. Vicious Outcast Wrestling here locally in I want to say Pittsburgh, but mostly the greater Pittsburgh area. They've done like a show like in town at the Irish Center, but mostly they're on the outskirts. Like I said, about a half an hour to an hour away. Uniontown, Connellsville, Jeanette. Jeanette's where I got to actually attend this past weekend. It was a tournament. That was basically a Queen of the Ring tournament. That was you'd think like your Money in the Bank. Because they already have what they call a Vixen's title, which is a cool kind of different name. I like that, actually, for a women's title. And I don't know. I actually hate the Divas title. For the look of it, that they call it the Divas title. I hate the whole concept of it, but thankfully we're getting girls like Paige and AJ Lee in there to more represent that. But I know it's a different thing. It's a different branding. It is what it is, right? But for this one, and I've seen a little bit, like I said, a little bit of VOW before, and I'm sorry, I should have brushed up on names before I got into this. But they had about 10 girls. They had a quarterfinal and a semifinal. Semifinal was so they since they had 10 of them, it was a one-on-one match and then a three-way match to get your finals.
Okay.
I've seen that before. I think they might have done that. Well, actually, Super Indy did that where it ended in a three-way before, like weird stuff like that. But it's weird for me to go to a show with a bunch of familiar faces there, and I don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
I'm not used to this. I was actually, it's like I don't know if I'm just because it felt right. I sat back by the camera. So
yeah, you had to find your place.
Exactly. But hold on, I'm trying to bring up some stuff from the show here. It was also, I was mentioning to you guys before the show. It's the first like bar show that I've been to.
Okay.
Where I mean, you've seen them where like there's the ring. I know you. I've seen pictures from some of the shows you go to down there in Texas, where there's a ring and there's a stage on the other side of the ring, and there's chairs on one side of the ring. That's it. Like I don't even think there was 50 chairs set up. And I heard that their show the night before in Uniontown did about the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, it was like 50 people, and I saw one picture. I was like, oh, that was pretty much the same setup. Like these, and which kind of throws me because I've been to their shows before, and they were like, a VFW full of like looked like 500 people, So
Right.
I don't know what angle they're taking with the promotion. It seems like they jump around from venue to venue a lot, so I don't know if that has to do with anything. But generally, like, decent production as far as like they have an entrance and they put a TV screen up with like a nice shiny logo of the event for this Vixen's Mayhem that they had. By the way, not so mad about the Mayhem because it's Mayhem because it's the middle of May.
Hey, that's clever.
Yeah, it took me a minute. I didn't get that till like the day before. I don't know if it's just I wasn't paying attention or something. But like I said, and I mentioned this earlier tonight on the other show, but I know it's a women's show, and I was really happy for that. But the highlight of my night and why I went was the feature match of Super Oprah versus G Raver.
No, geez.
Who and mind you, G Raver has been doing the Generation Dead thing with Corey.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a wild contrasting of styles, and we had the women all night, so there wasn't any like huge bumps through the entire night. With the smaller women, and then you get Super Oprah, which is a big he-she that seemed to shake the place after when he got going. And like I said, just like the WLC match on Extreme Rules this past
Sunday,
weekend.
yeah.
If you're watching mainstream wrestling, these are the simple joys of professional wrestling. Like I don't know if you want to call it the freak sideshow thing or something, but like just something.
I maybe isn't the right word, but like side attraction.
Yeah. I mean, it is just a delight to see something this extraordinary as a giant black man dressed up like a woman and completely selling the hell out of the thing. And during the course of it, somehow loses his wig and breast implants that Pedro has to pick up. It's and just seeing everybody's reaction, because you can almost guarantee about 50% of that crowd that's the first time seeing Super Oprah and has no idea what to expect from this, right? Especially like I'm pretty sure wrestling is not even near regular in that part of the area, and then they get to see this. There's these beautiful women wrestling, da 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 da, and then there's Super Oprah. It's like
Right.
what? So, but no, it was a great show. A lot of talented girls there, and the first time there's been a women's show like this in the area. Like I said, we see a lot in AIW. I actually saw some people with AIW shirts, so I don't know if there's some affiliation. I know there's some girls that are typically on those cards.
Yeah, I believe there was Allison Kay was there.
Allison Kay is the one with the blonde stripe, right?
She's the one. She wrestled at that Ring of Honor Pittsburgh show. The one where she was wearing the Hannibal Lecter mask.
Yes.
Okay.
She's interesting. She's interesting because it was about 3 matches in before the crowd gave a crap about what's going on, right? And actually, it was getting into stuff. And she was one of the ones that started like taunting the crowd and getting into it. Another one, I wanted something Madison that calls herself the G-rated star. Was just like doing moves and posing for pictures, because there's people in the front row with their with their phones taking pictures of the girls and stuff, right? And she just stop and smile at them. And there was another one, Von Dutch was her name.
Leah Von Dutch.
Leah Von Dutch was another one, putting over she's from Canada and everything, and again posing for the pictures and everything. Like they were the ones that kind of made the night.
Awesome.
When a lot of the girls, I think, didn't know what to do with the lack of crowd or get a reaction or something like that. Like there was one girl there that I know I was told was, I think, trained by Harley Race, and it was just flat the entire time.
Yeah, I think people underestimate your, how much the interaction with the crowd sort of plays an effect.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with indie wrestling. Like in the fact that it is a smaller crowd, like you have to sort of play up to them more, and they'll appreciate you for it in a sense. I think people can tell when people are just sort of wrestling, and sometimes there's a time to wrestle and there's a time to jaw with fans or whatever. But you sort of have to have an understanding of like when to sort of take it up a bit.
And nobody overdid it either. Like I complain a lot about some guys, especially like some of the RWA guys, or even lately some of the guys in IWC. It doesn't matter. I see this everywhere now, where especially the heels will just like take a powder and start jawing with the fans, and it's like 5 or 10 minutes before we get to a wrestling match, right? And that feels like something that we could have easily done here in this situation to try to get some heat and try to get the fans into it and stuff, but they didn't. They did it in the ring. It was enough of an interaction, but there was still great wrestling in the ring. It was pretty good stuff. One close call. There was a like the Xbox X Factor move where I think the girl got knocked out. It sounds like she didn't tuck properly or something. So it was kind of a scary moment. The first match of the night.
That's fun.
It's
a good way to start it off.
Which is really funny because I walked in at the end of, and actually probably in the middle of it. They had a QA beforehand. You could get in early if you had a VIP ticket, I guess. And they were cycling through the girls, and they had like 5 in the ring at the time. And somebody asked about injuries, and one of the girls on the panel says, "Great, now one of us is going to get injured tonight." And first match right out the gate, it happened. I was like, "Oh my god!" So it's always scary to see, especially on that level. With these girls, or guys, whoever, just see that in person is kind of rough. But still, a great mix of talent.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Actually, I was curious because this, to my knowledge, is this your first ever sort of women's specific show?
Oh, this is my first ever women's specific show. Here's some of the girls here. Somebody had some pictures on VOW's site. Marty Bell, who I'd seen before, of course, in IWC. The girl on the left, I again don't remember her name, but she's apparently like part Native American and stuff. Like real good look, and she was pretty decent in there too. So go check them out. Vicious Outcast Wrestling is on Facebook. I know they have DVDs. They were filming things. I really want to see how this works out. Again, on the technical side, they had a guy at ringside, really good camera. A friend of ours, Bert LeGrand, who does the ring announcing actually for RWA, was on commentary. Another friend of the show, Chris LaRusso, was on color. I think he's one of the champions there, I think. And somebody else, Gentleman something or other. I didn't catch his name. But the hard cam was a GoPro. So
really?
I don't know. And I looked at before I left, I looked over at the screen they had back there, and it looked like it was like a fisheye lens because I could see all the seats and the ring was like all the way over here. So I'm really curious to see how that turns out, or if there's something they're doing in post. And plus, GoPros are great, but the lighting in there was bad. So I don't know what they're doing with that. It's a lockdown hard cam. I hate when I have to do lockdown hard cams. Because you can't get another guy on it, right?
Right.
Or you don't have the personnel to handle all that stuff, so you just point out the ring. The ring's not going to move, right, guys? We're good. We're good.
Never know.
It's so uneventful, and it's so everybody's used to the WWE style where you at least have a camera on the side. You at least have a moving camera that follows the action. If the action's over here in a corner, at least you can do something, instead of just having this giant open space on your screen that nobody cares about while I'm waiting for my ringside guy to roll into position, right? I'm sorry, I'm going off on
This is the thing Sorg thinks about even when he's not working on it.
It seriously is, because these White Oak shows kill me because I have to do a lockdown cam. And it is what it is. More people go to it, and maybe they'll be able to afford me. Anyways.
Awesome.
There's that. You got a ladies show coming up.
We do. This is very.
And I'm getting super jealous of the lineup I'm seeing on Facebook.
I did not plan this whatsoever to have this women-centric episode of the Indy Mayhem show, but let's roll with it. Today, we actually got to announce the full lineup for our next Inspire Pro Wrestling event, which is May 25th, which is less than 3 weeks away. Holy shit. We're finally doing month-by-month shows, and now it feels like everything's going by fast, and it's amazing. But it's also super scary. But we have a stellar lineup for this show. I'm really excited about this event. We are main eventing that show with a defense of the NWA World Women's Championship.
Jeez.
Which I am super excited about. The awesome people it is a official NWA sanctioned match. It's going to be really amazing. Barbie Hayden, who is the defending champion. If you haven't seen Barbie Hayden before, check her out because she's got the look that is, sort of what people expect out of a televised female professional wrestler. But she's so much more than that, I think. She's really amazing in the ring. Taking on Portia Perez, who's making her return to the Texas area after, I want to say, about a year and a half. And she, former 2-time Shimmer Tag Team Champion, has competed all over the world and can really stake her claim as being, kind of one of the best female wrestlers out there. So it's going to be really awesome to showcase that match for our main event for that event. We also have a bunch of female talents coming in. There's going to be a 3-way match between Athena, Veda Scott, and Angelus Lane, which I'm super excited about. I think that'll be really good.
Yeah, Veda Scott. I know Veda Scott. You're the one that's usually bringing up Veda Scott, and there's definitely some interesting stuff she's doing up in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. And Ring of Honor star as well. So definitely we get that buzz off of it. She, I think that match is going to be really awesome. And it's going to be in the road to crowning our first women's champion, which will be fun. We also have a 3-way ladder match, our first ever ladder match in Inspire Pro. I'm super excited about Ricky Starks, Sammy Guevara, who you know from your time with the IWC Proving Ground show.
Who, by the way, is coming back to IWC.
Yeah, saw that. He's going to be wrestling for Super Indy. I'm very excited about that. And Barrett Brown, and that is going to be a killer matchup. Those 3 guys are awesome. Really excited about that. We're also doing a lot of really other cool stuff. Jojo Bravo taking on Tadasuke. They teamed up back in April, and now they're fighting in a battle with honor and humanity. Because, you know, for those that don't know, like Jojo definitely inspired by the Japanese style, but specifically Osaka Pro Wrestling, which Tadasuke is originally from. So this is going to be a killer match. I think it's kind of an honor to be the company to put that match out there. It's going to be really awesome. Got a lot of amazing talent. Jake Durden, who I was really impressed with, he debuted for us in April. He's coming back to take on Matthew Palmer, which should be awesome. There's a lot of really cool stuff. I'm really excited that we're putting on this match. The Great Depression, who, if you don't know, is our resident monster of a man, burlap sackhead, and he's from the 1940s apparently, and he's crazy. Taking on Sorg. Are you ready for this? Honky Kong. We are doing the Great Depression
versus Honky Kong. Which somebody, when we, well, those don't know,
first time ever.
When Eamon, early on in the Wrestling Mayhem show, you brought up, what was River City Wrestling. River City Wrestling, and one of
which recently the Great Depression has been competing for as of late. So
okay,
a bit of a challenge in a sense. And we're getting to host that match, and it's pretty awesome. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm really psyched for this card. I think top to bottom, there's really good stuff. Showcases a lot of the really awesome female talent that's across the United States, and even beyond that, obviously, with Portia Perez being from Canada. Yes. And a lot of our top stars, a lot of really big matches. A lot of matches I think will have the potential to steal the show. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a really fun show. That's May 25th. Which is, like I said, less than 3 weeks away, at the Marquesa Hall and Theater in Austin, Texas, for Inspire Pro Wrestling's In Their Blood. That will be coming up very soon, and you can get your tickets at InspireProWrestling.com. We actually changed a bit of the ticket stuff. We divided front row and general admission. Front row is $15, general admission is $12. I know a lot of people were asking about, hey, are you going to ever sell front row separately? And, you know, because it's cool to see that people willing to pay a bit more to, you know, make sure they get that front row seat. That's really cool.
Has it just been first come, first serve for you guys?
Yeah, just all GA, and yeah, basically first come, first serve. But yeah, we'll be switching up this time and do front row and GA. And there's gonna be a lot of really cool stuff on that card. We're kicking off with Matthew Palmer against Jake Durden in our tradition of kicking off with a high profile matchup. So if you buy a ticket and you're coming to the show, get there early, because you do not want to miss any of it. Awesome. It's going to be really, really fun.
Awesome. Because I can never fail that this is probably happening on an off weekend. PWX has a show, because they're insane to have 2 shows a month.
I know a couple companies that actually do that.
I don't know how they keep this up. I have no idea. But they're having Berg Brawl 18. I guess it's their yearly battle royal kind of thing. Headlined by a friend of the show, the Wrestling Mayhem show, Jason Gory, against Jack Pollock in the title match. Some other cool guys on there. Matt Justice, I've known from Prime and IWC, former signee with WWE, of course. Bobby Beverly, other friend of the show, also been on Ring of Honor. Chris LaRusso, I mentioned before, was Super Hentai, and a bunch of other cool guys on there. Their show, again, have not been there. I've been able to see a little bit of video, and if you're not in the area, of course, luckily these guys do a television show, and they are putting it online now. This PWX, I think it's PWX Express, they're calling it. So go check that out over at ProWrestlingXpress.com. Something else from the Pittsburgh area, and again, something different. Again, you know, people, like, it feels like studio wrestling, because they have a building that they're able to do up and have everything
But
locked down.
I think it's super cool that there's companies that sort of putting on at that sort of upper level of production to where they have their sort of own, personal venue, I guess, in a sense, and they're putting stuff out there. So
Exactly. And I've kind of complained about, well, on the show we talked about how there's way too many groups around the Pittsburgh area, but I started to look at it this way. Every group does something different. PWX is doing this, again, the studio wrestling, they have their own venue kind of thing. IWC, I always call it kind of the indie refic kind of thing, where they're attracting the Ring of Honor talent and like best of the indies, basically, right? Doing, crazy great things like up in Meadville, what they did with the Night of the Superstars with AJ Styles. RWA's, I think, really kind of has been and will be growing into its own and kind of defining what their voice is. Those guys have been around 6 years, and now I think they're kind of, I think you're going to see them turn the corner, and you're seeing this with the Salute the Troops that just happened, and they got to have some other stuff coming down the line that's going to grow off of that. That's a kickstart to something, whether they can fill a 6,000 seat arena or not. But they doubled the people that came in the door. That's something, with no names, guys. Again, PWX doing their thing. IWC, KSWA has a crazy rabid group. I know a bunch of people say, "Yeah, do you work with KSWA?" I'm like, "No, I never know when they have a show on." Like they're like the anti everything new. It seems they have no social media. They have a website that looks like it was built a while ago. And therefore I always miss when there's a show coming up until it's too late, right? And they got Lord Zoltan, they got, very, very old school, kind of mentality there. VOW is doing, they've been kind of ragged on for being, ripping off AIW. Good, we need an AIW down here. Let them be the AIW of Pittsburgh.
AIW does pretty well.
Hey guys, they're having Tim Donst come to the next show. They're having Shikara guys come to the show with Batiri and Assyrian Portal. Please, bring it, guys.
AIW is booking Buff Bagwell this month. They gotta be doing something right.
I don't know if that's doing something right, but it's something. I mean,
but Sorg, he's the stuff.
He's he is the stuff. Okay, I can't deny that. I can't argue with the Buff Bagwell-ism there. So I mean, I think anybody wrestling fan should just be like, wow, I got a lot of choice, and go support something. My God, show me a calendar where you have a weekend where wrestling isn't happening within an hour and a half from Pittsburgh.
I never have any of those weekends, Sorg. Legitimately, there's never a weekend where there's not wrestling. Some point during the weekend, at least an hour away.
Exactly. If there's not a weekend I'm working a show, chances are, and unfortunately this isn't the case because usually I'm like, oh God, I gotta get away from wrestling. Oh my God, I've had way too many shows this month. But this weekend I was just like, no, I want to go check this out. This is something I definitely want to go. I want to support these guys because I think they're doing something cool and something different. And let's see. Let's see what happens with the women's show. And I was really pleased with it. And I hope they do it again. I really do. And God, Super Oprah. It all comes down to Super Oprah. Any other shows coming up that you're aware of, or anywhere else that anybody wants to talk about?
There are some really big shows coming up this weekend. Both on the 10th, which is Saturday. That's Saturday, right? I believe it's Saturday. I don't know dates.
Yes, it's the 10th. Stay tuned. Chachi Plays. Yes.
If you're in Canada, Ring of Honor is starting they're going to be holding their Global Wars event, which is their start of the shows that they are doing with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So those are going to be really cool that you should check out. The main event that's listed right now, at least for this show, and for this event in Toronto, there's a couple matches that are brought to you by New Japan and a couple matches brought to you by Ring of Honor. The New Japan show is main evented by Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jushin Liger, taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and Jado. Also, giant developments out of New Japan. Sorg, I don't know if you saw this. The new IWGP Heavyweight Champion, AJ Styles.
AJ Styles?
Who beat Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, recently at a New Japan pay-per-view.
I'm just going to go ahead and say we've given him the Mayhem pump because I did actually shoot some stuff with AJ Styles for a future release with Sorg. Can we call it the Sorgatron Media Bump?
Sorgatron Media Bump.
Can we do that? I think so. We also we didn't even mention this. Our new friend of the show that we had on the show last week, Jimmy Nuts.
Appearance on WWE. Hey, Jimmy Nuts.
Hey, Jimmy Nuts, cheeseburger guy during Adam Rowe's entrance on Raw last night.
I recognize those glasses anywhere. But no,
I'm like, awesome. Who stole Jimmy Nuts' gimmick at WWE? He's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, but no, that's I want to. You know what? I want to do a segment every week whenever there's a indie guy on Raw, just sort of spotlighting them. That would be a cool segment because everyone sort of jokes at me about how I recognize all these indie guys.
That's the best part of it. One of the if you go to a lot of indies and you go into certain indies where some of the people are going up like that, right? Or when Raw comes to your town and you get to play the "Hey, I know that" security guard game, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it's a fun game.
It is one of the simple pleasures of being a fan and watching indie wrestling is that, you know, on top of the, oh, hey, that guy in NXT, I remember when he wasn't Devin Devinson, you know? And now he's a pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. But yeah, AJ Styles bringing the IWGP Heavyweight title to the Bullet Club, and now he basically is assuming all of Okada's defenses for the Ring of Honor show. So I believe on the 17th, next weekend, he'll be facing Michael Elgin. So.
Jeez, I need to get an eye on some of these shows. I wanted to mention because we've been talking about the stream.
These shows will be on pay-per-view, by the way.
Wait, are these the pay-per-view ones or the Ustream ones?
They are doing them through Ustream, which is much more. Ustream is what New Japan uses for their iPay.
Okay.
And they are so much more reliable.
Really? Well, it's a better
people to buy these.
It's a better platform, and I know we stream this on Justin TV, and then we have used Ustream in the past. Now, what we do, and you get stupid ads every once in a while, and I apologize for that because we can't afford what they need for us to do this, and we don't get the audience on the stream itself. All of it's usually a download afterwards to afford that. Hopefully down the line we can, but I mean, Ustream is something that's been around for a while. They know the thing to do. They know how to do this. And versus what were they using before, WWN or something like that?
No, they were using Go Fight Live. I believe.
Go Fight Live. Go Fight Live. They're not respecting what they're doing, but they're not the solid platform that Ustream do. Go Fight Live is a great platform for indies to get their foot in the door of this pay-per-view thing. And they're mostly, I think they're still, I haven't looked at their site for a while, but
they've been doing a couple things. I don't know the companies, but I know they're still doing indie pay-per-views.
Okay.
Them and WWN Live, so.
Yeah, so I mean, these are not like full built from the ground up platforms, tried and true platforms like a Ustream or a Justin TV is. These guys have, yes, they have something, yes, they have a back end, but I don't think I think at least on the, we call this the last mile a lot. That first connection they have to get to these guys, because I mean the requirements are not very high end for you to do GFL. And I would imagine WWN is probably similar. Versus Ustream will need to do X, Y, and Z for this to work. And for somebody that's a company that's owned by Sinclair Broadcasting needs to step up their freaking game. And I'm hoping Ustream is the thing. And I hope they bought the holy shit package with Ustream to make sure everything works. Including, I'm sure at a certain point, Ustream sends a guy to make sure you didn't fuck it up.
Probably, yeah.
It's not dual satellite trucks like WWE runs, but it's at least a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely. So that's the show this weekend. There's also, like I mentioned, another show, Ring of Honor New Japan show next weekend. So there's going to be more stuff coming. There's going to be a fun weekend, and I know the New Japan guys are wrestling a lot of other places too. I believe Border City Wrestling out of Canada is doing some stuff with them too. So keep an eye out.
I wonder. Actually, I just saw. Okay, go ahead. Phil, I need to look something up.
Okay. Another event or a series of events I can talk about that's coming up this weekend. Also on the 10th, if you're around the New Jersey area, CZW and WSU are doing their doubleheader once again. A lot of interesting stuff came out recently about WSU, or not, I shouldn't say about WSU, but some stuff that's transpired. Jessica Havoc, who has been the WSU champion for about a little over 2 years now, stripped of the championship, and what the phrase was used was banned for life. Don't know exactly what's happening there. Obviously, stuff is going to eventually come out, I assume, about what's been happening. But for what we know now, she's been stripped of the championship. They did announce that the new champion would be crowned in a rematch from their last show, the match of the night, and could quite possibly be match of the year for their show, of Athena taking on Lufisto. This time it will be a 2 out of 3 falls match. I encourage you to check that out. I watched their last match they had for the last WSU show. It is spectacular. Check it out. It's going to be really, really awesome.
So I caught wind of this Border City Wrestling actually earlier, like earlier in the night here. Joe Dombrowski, friend of the show, is actually going to be involved with it. I got a poster up here. So East meets West this Friday, May 9th, up there in Windsor, Ontario, featuring Booker T, of all people. And again, a bunch of Japanese guys. I don't know. I'm sure you know some of them.
A lot of the world knows them.
Alex Shelley, P.D. Williams, friend of the show, Cody Diener. We talked to him on Wrestling Mayhem show a while back. Go look that up. Bolin, who wrestles in IWC here. What?
I believe Bolin's in a tag team match with Takaaki Watanabe, who I've worked with Inspire Pro.
Oh my!
And Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's going to be crazy. I believe one of the matches is Shinsuke Nakamura against Chris Sabin. That's going to be fucking insane. Wow. That's going to be. Sorg, my goal now is I'm going to get you into New Japan.
Is that what's happening now?
I'm going to get you. Need to see this stuff.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I mean, I did see there was a Japanese barbed wire midget wrestling match that was on the board earlier.
Different. That's very different than New Japan.
I mean, I do have some Stranglemania.
Yeah, no. I gotta get you accustomed with the Rainmaker.
There's a man dressed as a panda. I don't understand why, and neither do
they.
Okay,
because you know Okada when he was in TNA, right? He was Samoa Joe's bodyguard that wore a mask that one time, like a black mask, and he got beat up by the Pope. He wrestled on Explosion a bunch.
Well, why would I know who wrestles on Explosion?
I know. Exactly. Kind of my point exactly. Well, in New Japan, he's king shit.
Is he the John Cena of New Japan?
He is the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. He makes money fall down from the ceiling. He's fucking adorned in robes and gold, and he fucking clotheslines the shit out of people, and it's goddamn amazing.
Send me one match.
I will send you one match. A lot of them are very long. A lot of them are very long.
I don't know if I could do that.
I'll try to send you a short one.
Because I mean, it's really weird when there's screaming Japanese, and one time with the women, and then my wife wakes up in the middle of the night and says, "What in the world are you watching?" As these sounds emanate from the editing room.
But no, I'm gonna get you into New Japan. Sorry. All
right, bring it, man. Bring it. There needs to be. I really wish, we have WWE and all these, TNA have worldwide exposure and everything. I really wish somebody somewhere, would adapt this Japan stuff. I guess we have YouTube.
I doubt we will see it beyond independent.
I know, but level. Just weird, remember, what was that one channel, Colors TV or something, that carried some kind of weird wrestling, right? Like
Lucha Libre and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I watched Lucha Libre on Univision.
If you get it on the closest you will get to international wrestling on a national level is watching AAA on Univision. That's the closest I think you'll get to
even if it's just they throw an American announcer on there and here you go. Something.
And it's hard to explain this to people, but it is very true. You don't have to necessarily understand the commentators to get the story.
Actually, a friend of the show in the mainstream media works here locally at the news station, Matt Carnes. He was talking about how he does not mind the Japanese. He's been watching some of that stuff. He doesn't mind the Japanese.
You get a lot. They do a good job of delivering the emotion.
Yeah.
Through their I'm obviously, like you mentioned, screaming Japanese people, but
Yes.
I
know exactly, Kelly Cow. ICP, will ICP do commentary for New Japan? This is such a wonderful job on Stranglemania. Have you ever watched Stranglemania?
I have not. I have heard a lot about Stranglemania.
I am going to have to hook you up with my DVD.
I feel like I've seen some clips of Stranglemania. There was like a women's barbed wire exploding death match or something. I think they were commentating over it. It's not my favorite. I'll just say that. But, it's something for everybody.
You had to have been there. It was the day and the age, It's like you had to have been a hippie when hippies were cool.
Yeah.
You had to have been a juggalo when juggalos were cool.
I wasn't watching wrestling during the Attitude Era, I know.
Yeah.
But it happens.
But
yeah, CZW and WSU. If you're in New Jersey, go check them out this Saturday, May 10th. I believe they're also doing pay-per-views through RF Video. So go check them out there and go support them. So
awesome.
Those are the indie events I know about coming up this weekend.
Have we found all the indie wrestling there is to find?
I think so. Actually, probably not. There's shit on the indie wrestling.
There's nothing else going
that's a
on.
stupid response of me to make. As we say every week, unless you're from maybe like Wisconsin or something, but there's probably wrestling in Wisconsin. Or whatever. Like, there's got to be some indie wrestling.
Something in Wyoming, because somebody told me, it's like, I'm moving to Wyoming from Pittsburgh, and I'm like, I almost want to respond, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why'd you do that? But no, there's indie wrestling somewhere near you. Go to a show. Even if you don't know anyone on the show, even if this is your first time ever going to an independent wrestling show, go to the show. Because you'll have an amazing time. It's an experience.
You'll have a time. I mean, it may not be the best wrestling you ever see sometimes, but just seeing it in person.
Absolutely not. But it's just to be in that environment. It's something so different than anything else you experience. So
definitely.
And it helps the guys. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. I think we had a great talk. Thanks again to Delilah Doom. Go check her out on Twitter, Delilah_Doom. And she's also on the Facebooks. And next week, we're scheduled, I'm going to confirm it, but we are scheduled to have one Justin LaBar on the show. So that'll be interesting. He's been on the Indies. Actually, he had a promoter of IWC on his radio show on Trib Live earlier today. And he's, of course, made some waves over in Prime Wrestling, IWC lately. He's been around. He's been around on the Indies on the managerial role. So it'll be interesting to have a conversation with him next week. So in the meantime, you can check us out. We're over at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, all kinds of stuff in video and audio formats. You can also drop us a line to our email address at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com or the voice line at 412-206-WMS0. And of course, you can join us here live about 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Central Time, 10 p.m. At live.sorgatronmedia.com, or again, we got a link over there at WrestlingMayhemShow.com as well. Thanks, Eamon. He's at Eamon2, please. I'm at Sorgatron, and please go support some indie wrestling, guys.
Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Beating for the taste of the blood. Sick,